What do Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, a show we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general, the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Ding, the lifelong sports fan, and the Golden Hard Dog. Coming back to you today just with a quick Friday preview from a fan perspective of the Falcons taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. This is our first time playing Tampa Bay in the Tom Brady-less era, so we will see what happens this time around. Good news, Thursday Night Football. Jaguars did beat the Saints, so that does help us out. I predicted that one, so I'm at least 1-0 this week so far. As far as injury reports go, Falcons really don't have many guys on the injury report. We've either lost guys already for the season or they're all back. So, there's a few guys like Troy Anderson's out for the rest of the year, but Caleb McGarry is practicing in full, no problems there. Gotta be good to go. Calais Campbell, he gets veteran rest, so really there's not a lot going on there. You're going to see him on the injury report every single week, but it's not anything they're going to have to worry about. As far as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go, this is a Baker Mayfield-led team. They've done relatively well overall. They're a better team than a lot of us thought they were going to be, and part of that is because Baker Mayfield has been better, and they still have a pretty good defense, usually led by Vita Vea. However, Vea did suffer a foot injury earlier this week. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, did not practice, surprisingly, yesterday, and now his status is up in the air. Now, again, I'm making this video early on a Friday morning just because it's the time that I have of the day to do it, and we don't know about Friday practice schedules yet. If he doesn't practice today, I would imagine they will be without Vita Vea, and that does benefit the Falcons. The Falcons have had a tough time running the ball here in the recent past, and it's been incredibly frustrating because I was thinking about this on my way to work this morning. What did I want to say about this? We are a team that at the end of last year was, I think, third best running the ball overall, and we have struggled mightily running the ball in like the last 3 or 4 games here. Now, we did really well running the ball against Carolina as a team. We did amazing running the ball against Green Bay as a team. The Detroit game, I'm just going to go through these real quick. With Detroit, we had a grand total of 44 rushing yards, which is pitiful for this team. We had like less than 250 yards of offense that game, so that's part of the problem there. With Jacksonville, I remember feeling like we were running well with Jacksonville. Yeah, and we did run well with Jacksonville. We still couldn't win because Desmond made some mistakes. So we got 127 yards that game, which is not bad at all. And then for the last 2 weeks, though, it's felt pretty rough, like trying to get things going. Houston, I know, was tough slugging because we basically had to lean on Desmond Ridder, which is not something that I feel like we need to be doing that often. Yeah, only 96 yards with nobody getting more than 50 on the team individually against Houston. And then finally, last week, I know we didn't run the ball very well because neither team ran the ball very well. We had a grand total of 106 yards with only Tyler getting 51, Bijan Robinson getting 37, Desmond getting 18, and averaging 3.7 yards per carry. This is a team that I have said multiple times, we have got to run the ball well in order to be successful. We're a team that needs to be getting 140 to 150 rushing yards every week to be successful, with Desmond Ridder throwing under 200 yards. That is the formula for victory. And if we don't follow that formula for victory, then we're not going to have a very good year. Desmond Ridder throwing the ball, I think, 47 times last week? That's not going to be a successful formula ever for us. It just won't be. I'm sorry, it's not going to work out for the Falcons in the long run. Even if Desmond Ridder, we know he can throw the ball very well. We know he can throw it far. He threw almost a 70-yard bomb, which just missed by that much, connecting with Van Jefferson, the newest addition to the Falcons, for a touchdown against the Commies. Now, here's the other thing that's going on. Our defense is very good. In the last few weeks, we have allowed the most points would be 24 points. But again, some of this is not our fault. Jacksonville, 23 points allowed. One of them was a pick six. Detroit, I would argue that we only allowed 13 points defensively. Towards the end of the game, we gave up a meaningless touchdown, but we really kept them to 13 points for most of that game. Detroit, we kept them, not Detroit, Jacksonville, we basically kept them to 10 offensive points. There was a meaningless field goal at the end of the game when it was already well out of reach and we didn't have any time to do anything. Houston, we found a way to come back and win that game thanks to the defense. And Washington, we did allow every one of those 24 points on defense, but again, there was a special teams run back for about 60 yards that put them on like the 10-yard line. It's hard to stop an offense in the 10-yard line. There are other short field positions. They start on like their own, or they start on our 37 once on an interception, and they found the end zone that way. And then they started on their own, I think 45, give or take a couple yards, and found it that time too. And that was on the fourth down, the turnover on downs early in the game. So, it's all of that said, our defense gave up 3 touchdowns on less than 100 yards of production, which again is hard to do, but then they came up with key stops the rest of the way to give us chances in some of those games. Again, I really feel like we should be 4-2 at least right now. I think we had chances to be 5-1 or even 6-0 had we just played a little bit better on offense, but defense is doing their part of this. I don't understand our offensive line. You have McGarry and Lindstrom on the right side. Dahlman is coming back into his second year in the center, and he's looking fine. Bergeron is more consistent than any left guard we had last year, and you still have Jake Matthews at left tackle, who is the model of consistency overall. I don't understand how this offensive line, which was arguably a little worse last year, is now not producing from a rushing standpoint. They were already a little suspect against the pass block, which has improved. They've done things to give Desmond Ridder more time, and that has shown in the last few games. Now, Desmond Ridder has to get on a better page with his receivers. There were guys that were either running the wrong routes or Desmond Ridder was just not familiar with what play was actually being run. I don't know which it was. And then also the play calling itself. I don't know what the actual dysfunction is on offense. Defense looks amazing. But offensively, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's an Arthur Smith problem. I don't know if it's an execution problem from Desmond Ridder. I don't know if it's the receivers not being on the same page. Thankfully, Kyle Pitts is starting to get involved. Drake London had a career day last week. And then you're still getting some sprinkled in catches by guys like Matt Collins, Scotty Miller, which I don't know why we're not using Scotty Miller more often. He's a freaking lightning bolt on the field if you give him enough space and time. So I don't know why we're not trying to scheme up some plays for that guy, but either way, I do think Scotty Miller will be a little more involved this week because, again, this is his former team. So this is potentially a revenge game for him. Again, I do think Vita Vea, if he is out, that helps our run game. If he's in, then Tampa Bay has one of the best rush defenses in the league, and it's going to be tough slugging through on the ground. I do ultimately have the Falcons winning this game at 22-17. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I never like going to Tampa Bay. I used to not mind, but for whatever reason, since they've gotten this strong defense and since Brady was there, I know he's not there now, but something changed with the mentality of Tampa Bay, and it feels harder to beat them, even when they're not all that great of a team. Neither of these teams are elite, and this could go either way. America currently thinks that, or ESPN rather, currently thinks it's like a 53-47% split as of the making of this video, 7:30 on a Friday morning. But that's all I got for you guys. I'm really trying to hit that 500 subscriber goal by the end of the 2023 season. Please help me reach more people by subscribing to my channel and helping my channel grow. Thank you to the 185 of you who continue to watch this goober for whatever reason. I certainly appreciate it. But thank you guys, and as always, rise up.